So much going on. I'll talk about that after the break because we got to get to Gossip Corner. Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian, yeah, plus Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan played to 17,000 people in New Orleans, and there was a kerfluffle. I'll do that in the second half when I usually do the Chappelle stuff. Vulture put out a list of the comedians you should and will know in 2021. I don't even have time today. I did throw that on the Facebook group. Talk about that later. Let's get to late night. Jeff Bezos announced plans for Blue Origin's own space station, Orbital Reef. The plan is for a destination for space tourists, kind of like a Hollywood Boulevard in space. Jimmy Kimmel said, except there, people have to urinate on the sidewalk in zero gravity. The cost of the project is expected to exceed $10 billion. Kimmel said, listen, I get it. Space is cool. Jeff Bezos is rich, and without space travel, we wouldn't have Tang or dehydrated ice cream. But when they talk about spending tens of billions of dollars, you have to wonder which part of the Earth is on fire Jeff Bezos isn't understanding. Is the plan to sit up there in the space station and watch it burn? How about instead of spending tens of billions of dollars on a space station, spend $0 on a space station and all the dollars on planet Earth? We aren't going to be able to get Prime delivery in space. You understand that, right? First he was making rocket ships, now he's making space stations. That's how the Emperor got started on the Death Star, you know. Meanwhile, on The Daily Show, Trevor Noah discussed a movement by conservatives to censor liberal ideas in school. Trevor explained ideas like racism is bad or gays are not bad. It's almost like conservatives learned too much about cancel culture and accidentally got really into it. Like how you sort of hate watching a Real Housewives show and then 7 seasons later you're all of a sudden like, I know Ramona and Sonia say they're best friends, but would you talk about your best friend like that behind their back? It's election day, the Virginia governor's race. Republican candidate Glenn Youngkin released a TV ad featuring a mother upset that her son, who's a senior in an AP English class, was assigned to read Beloved, the Pulitzer-winning novel by Toni Morrison. Trevor said, I'm sorry, guys, but any parent who thinks their 17-year-old son's school assignment is too explicit, they need to check out his browser history because, trust me, he can handle it. The real dangerous ideology in America isn't conservatism or liberalism, it's helicopter parenting. I mean, an AP class is basically a college course. How long is this lady going to be trying to protect their kid? Let's head on over to Gossip Corner. Yahoo asks, so why are Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson suddenly on the receiving end of couple speculation? Well, on Saturday night, Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson were spotted casually holding hands while hanging out at Knott's Berry Farm in SoCal with PDA masters Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker. What has happened to this podcast? Now, Yahoo warns us, before you begin to fully ship this, keep in mind that it's very possible that Kim and Pete's PDA moment, which went down on a roller coaster while Kim was adorably mid-scream, it's possible it was purely platonic. Let me tell you something. I've held hands with a woman. It's never platonic. Never. Ever. Come on, Yahoo, you know better. But Yahoo says it might not be a signal of any romantic vibes. In fact, a source told People pretty much exactly that. Their quote implores us to all calm TF down about the whole thing. The source said, they hang in the same circles. They'll be together from time to time. It's just friends hanging out. And I'll add, holding hands on a roller coaster, like friends do, you know? Like Zach and Glenn that I use in the bits. If we went on a roller coaster and sat next to each other and I'm like, you want to hold hands? Glenn would be like, sure. The source said, Kim and Pete seem like good friends. Kim seemed very chill. Does seem like she was trying to hide. She was in a large group that reportedly included over a dozen security guards. That's not how you hide. I will be keeping an eye on this story because we all love Gossip Corner. Hey, from the National Comedy Center, I want to love you guys, but you gotta do better. So on November 1st, I finally see this story that the National Comedy Center and Jerry Seinfeld are proud to bring you Halloween. Dudes, promote this in advance. What are you doing? I know they posted it on Sunday, but guess who doesn't look at the media on Sunday? Everybody. Halloween is a beloved comedy bit written and performed by Jerry Seinfeld. That's from his album. It came out in like 1998. It was brought to life with illustrations by James Bennett from Jerry Seinfeld's award-winning Halloween children's book. That's a thing? Wait, Jerry Seinfeld has a Halloween book? I can't get into this today. I got 20 minutes worth of stuff. Come back on the weekend. We'll get to that. Did you watch Succession yet? Episode 3, Season 3? Because I'm about to semi-spoil it, but not really. From Variety, Z-Way roasts Kendall Roy on Succession. Here's how her role came to be. Now, it's interesting that I saw this article. By the way, Variety posts spoilers. I hate them during Mandalorian season. During Mandalorian season, Variety will post something at like 7:30 in the morning that's like, The big return character who has a deep voice and wears black that you didn't expect to show up on The Mandalorian. And I'm like, F you, man. It's 7:30 in the morning. I can't watch this thing yet. So Sunday night, I happened to watch Succession, quote unquote, live. I don't know what live is anymore, but, I hit play on HBO Max at like 9:01. So quote unquote live. Boy, as soon as 10 o'clock hit, they had this thing posted. So I'm glad I had seen it. Again, about to spoil it, but not really. If you saw it, the third episode of season 3, titled The Disruption, sees Kendall Roy prepare to go on a late-night talk show to poke fun of himself, only to cancel at the last minute, blah, blah, blah. So he went on this fake late-night talk show, and I tweeted before I saw the Variety article that in the Succession universe, late-night TV is awful. This fake show that they made was terrible. Like, what they wrote wasn't funny. You've scripted the show. You can make it funny. This was bad. Z-Way, how did you get the show? I auditioned for it. I texted my agent, and I was like, I love Succession. It's one of my favorite shows, and I'd love to audition for the show. Is that a thing? Can I do that? I'd love to be podcaster in his basement talking about the Roy family. Can I do that? Z-Way said, so I sent in a tape. It was a late-night host character, but with a different name. I got the part, and Jesse called me. He was like, we want to rewrite the character to be more in line with your vibe. And I was babbling on the phone. I was so excited. This is one of my favorite satirical writers of all time, one of the best writers in the country. It was truly such an exciting show to get to be part of. It was like a career pinnacle for me, honestly. They asked how they rewrote the character Sophie to better fit Z-Way. She said, initially, it was more of a Sam B type, I think. They adjusted the character to be Sophie Iwobi. That's a Nigerian name, so it was adjusted for my personality. But I really had nothing to do with the writing. I got the script, I memorized it, showed up the day of. I improvised things, but I haven't even seen the episodes. I can't even tell you what made it. From the BBC, a Canadian comedian who mocked a disabled singer has won his free speech case in Canada's top court. If you're a longtime listener to this podcast, we talked about this about a year ago. I'll catch everybody up. In a 5-4 split decision, the Canadian Supreme Court ruled that jokes told about a singer who was a child at the time did not amount to discrimination. The case began in 2010 when Mike Ward, a comedian from Quebec known for his edgy comedy, started telling jokes about child singer Jeremy Gabriel. The BBC writes, the stand-up at the center of the case dealt with issues of race and religion, as well as what Mr. Ward has called the sacred cows of the province's celebrity industry, people who, in his view, were for various reasons too rich, too powerful, and seen as out of bounds for mockery. In the segment in question, Ward made jokes about Gabriel, who as a boy had become a minor celebrity and was known in the press as Petite Jeremy. Gabriel has Treacher-Collins syndrome, which is a genetic disorder that can affect facial bone structure and, in his case, cause severe deafness. The jokes referenced Mr. Gabriel's disability and mocked his appearance. The family filed a human rights complaint before the Quebec Human Rights Tribunal, and Mike Ward lost. He appealed some back and forth legal stuff. It eventually appears in front of the Supreme Court of Canada, and they ruled that while some of the comments were nasty and disgraceful, they did not incite the audience to treat Mr. Gabriel as subhuman. The comments exploited, rightly or wrongly, a feeling of discomfort in order to entertain, but they did little more than that. Will Ferrell spoke with a Hollywood Reporter and said he turned down $29 million to play Buddy the Elf in Elf 2 or whatever it would have been called because he couldn't in good conscience stand by something he wasn't proud of just because he'd be making big bucks from it. Will said, I would have had to promote the movie from an honest place, which would have been like, oh no, it's not good. I couldn't turn down that much money. And I thought, can I actually say those words? I don't think so, so I guess I can't do the movie. He didn't share what Elf 2 would have been about, but it would have been called Elf 2, Buddy Saves Christmas, so it sounds like a rehash of the first movie. Kevin James, if you got tickets to see him November 7th at the Palace Theater, the Columbus Dispatch says, forget it. The show has been canceled. No reason was given. Not sure if it's going to be rescheduled. Donald Glover dropped a trailer for the third season of FX's Atlanta. The trailer was shared to a link to a website called Gilga, which contains a clock, shows your location, and includes the video. No other details on Atlanta. Jon Hamm will voice the lead character of a new Fox animated comedy series, Grimmsburg. Grimmsburg will debut in 2023. Jon Hamm plays Marvin Flute, maybe the greatest detective ever to catch a cannibal clown or correctly identify a mid-century modern armoire. But there's one mystery he still can't crack. His family. Now that he's back in Grimmsburg, a town where everybody has a secret or three, Flute will follow every lead. He's got to redeem himself with the ex-wife he never stopped loving, even if it means hanging out with the son he never bothered to get to know. Jon Hamm said, I'm very excited to be involved in the Fox animation universe. a universe I have been actively watching since the early 90s. The opportunity to get a project like Greenberg to life, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Yahoo says Ice Cube is out in the cold after refusing to be vaccinated. He was going to be in the upcoming comedy Oh Hell No that stars Jack Black as a man who falls in love with another man's mom. Set to play the disapproving son, Ice Cube was reportedly going to get $9 million, but he doesn't want to get vaxxed, so he's out. Tells you had a lot today from Looper. Production on the long-awaited fantasy comedy based on an idea from John Krasinski, which will also star Ryan Reynolds. It's finally set to begin moving forward. When news of the project first circulated, it was described as a film in which Krasinski would star as an individual with the ability to see abandoned imaginary friends. Krasinski and Reynolds would then team up to try and keep those abandoned imaginary friends from falling into despair and potentially turning evil. However, the announcement of the film's new cast members noted the film was untitled and includes a different logline for the project, but we don't know what that logline is. Untitled John Krasinski movie opens November 17th, 2023. Put it on your calendar. Today's Daily Comedy News brought to you by All Pro Lines. That's my go-to listen on Tuesday mornings. Kostaki Economopoulos and Aaron Hodges, they combine the National Football League and jokes. I am the Carlos Mencia of promos, and I steal their jokes. I went to Twitter at All Pro Lines, and I'm going to steal some jokes from them, one of which is the Detroit Lions played so badly, they dumped a cooler of Flint water on Dan Campbell. Pretty good. And they credited listener Shoes Eric with this one, and I'm a double Carlos Mencia thief here. Roger Goodell was reportedly paid $125 million over the past 2 years, or $1 for every fan who hates him. Very good. So it's All Pro Lines. It's a podcast. Comes out Monday night, Tuesday morning. Kostaki and Aaron, they talk football. They shuck some jokes. It's a lot of fun. All Pro Lines, wherever you get your shows. All right, it is Chappelle time. Now, Lane Spurk has hooked it up. I tell you all the time about the Facebook group. So you go to facebook.com and you type in Daily Comedy News Group. And there, you can post some stuff, and Lane did that on Sunday, I think it was, maybe late Saturday. And this first story would have been off my radar, so everybody thank Lane on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Lane. From NOLA, record-breaking crowd at Dave Chappelle Joe Rogan show, frustrated by ticketing and traffic snafus. Oh no. After being stuck in an epic traffic jam Thursday night outside the Smoothie King Center, Saints defensive end Cam Jordan hustled towards the nearest entrance. It was 9 o'clock, an hour past the scheduled start time for the sold-out comedy concert headlined by Chappelle and Rogan. More than 17,000 tickets had been sold, the most ever for a single event at the Smoothie King Center. With that many people trying to access the arena, delays were to be expected, but the special circumstances of the show, coupled with the vast crowd, resulted in many frustrated fans missing some of the performances. Saints defensive end Cam Jordan found himself blocked at the arena entrance, and not by an opposing offensive tackle, because Dave Chappelle does not allow cell phones at his concerts. Patrons were required to have paper tickets. I hate this cell phone thing, Dave. Get over it, man. We're getting your information anyway. What are you hiding? Just let people bring their cell phones in, so we bootleg your show. Who cares? When tickets were first purchased via Ticketmaster, buyers were told of the paper ticket requirement. Reminder emails went out, but buyers who bought tickets through third-party vendors would not have received the reminders directly. Others, more accustomed to the convenience of mobile tickets on their phones, and by others, NOLA means everybody, it's 2021, Dave Chappelle, they either forgot to print them or didn't see the language. Saints defensive end Cam Jordan, like thousands of other fans who had already sat in gridlock traffic outside the arena, was directed to the box office to get his tickets printed out. So stupid. Surprised by the number of fans who needed the ticket printed, the box office staff was overwhelmed. You think? Fans reported a chaotic scene without organized lines at the ticket windows that were open. Fans who bought tickets from third-party vendors received another unpleasant surprise when they reached the ticket window. The box office couldn't reprint their tickets. Sucks to be you. The box office only has records of the Ticketmaster account because in the 21st century, nobody resells tickets, Dave Chappelle. Nobody uses cell phones, Dave Chappelle. Come on, man. So those fans had to go elsewhere. Some said on social media they went to a downtown FedEx office to get their tickets printed. By the time they returned to the arena, the show was underway. Jeez. There were 3 opening acts: Jeff Ross, Donnell Rawlings, and Tom Segura. That's a pretty good show. Rogan went on at 9:45. Some drivers spend an hour creeping the 4 blocks from the exit ramp off the highway to the parking garages. Those garages, like concession areas, no longer accept cash. We do not